Okay, here we are. Drunkard's Cloak. I have literally just finished doing Barrel Part 2, and this caught my eye, and so I wanted to read it. A drunkard's cloak was a type of pillory, which I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I know I've seen that written before, but I've never tried to say it. Okay, pillory is correct. A wooden framework with holes for the head and hands, in which an offender was imprisoned and exposed to public abuse. Really kind of awful. So it was a type of pillory used in various jurisdictions to punish miscreants. The drunkard's cloak was actually a barrel into the top of which a hole was made for the head to pass through. Two smaller holes in the sides were cut for the arms. Once suitably attired, the miscreant was paraded through the town, effectively pilloried. Effectively pilloried. Offenses. Drunkenness was first made a civil offence in England by the Ale House Act, 1551. And what was I just saying? I, oh, I apologize. I have a speck of dust right there. I thought that there was a period in between there. Anyway, drunkenness was first made a civil offence in England by the Ale Houses Act 1551, or an act for keepers of alehouses to be bound by recognizances. According to Ian Hornsey, the drunkard's cloak, sometimes called the Newcastle cloak, became a common method for punishing recidivists. Am I saying that right? Man, all these fun little words. Recidivists. A convicted criminal who reoffends, especially repeatedly, is a recidivist. Cool. That's the kind of word that like you hear it, but like nowhere near enough for it to be in your working memory. Of course, if I asked my roommate, he'd probably be like, "You don't know what a recidivist is?" Ugh. Anyway, common method of punishing recidivists, especially during the Commonwealth of England. From 1655, Oliver Cromwell suppressed many of England's alehouses, particularly in royalist areas, and the authorities made regular use of the cloak. Accounts. An early description of the drunkard's cloak appears in Ralph Gardiner's England's Grievance Discovered, first published in 1655. A John Willis claimed to have traveled to Newcastle and seen, here's a quote, men drove up and down the streets with a great tub or barrel opened in the sides with a hole in one end to put through their heads, and to cover their shoulders and bodies, down to the small of their legs, and then clothes the same, called the new-fashioned cloak, and so make them march to the view of all beholders, and this is their punishment for drunkards or the like. End quote. Gardiner's account was reproduced in 1789 in John Brand's History of Newcastle on Tyne, accompanied by an early illustration of a drunkard's cloak. A similar device was used in Holland. William Brereton noted its use in Delft in 1634, as did Samuel Pepys at The Hague in 1660. One author also recorded its existence in 1784 in Denmark, where it was called the Spanish mantle. These occurrences, along with the observations of one 19th century historian, who noted that no mention of the punishment was made in any local documentation, including the Newcastle Corporation accounts, prompted William Andrews to suppose in 1899 that the drunkard's cloak was a custom imported from the continent, and that its use in England was confined to Newcastle. That was a long-ass sentence. Holy cow. Goodness. So basically, it's been around from time to time, and yeah. Further afield. Screw you. What the heck? Further afield. Who is the author of this one? Man, oh man, I want to slap them on the wrist for being a silly boy or gal. Further afield, instances of its use are found in the U.S. A paper described in 1862 how a wretched delinquent was gratuitously framed in oak, his head being thrust through a hole cut in one end of a barrel, and the other end of which had been removed, and the poor fellow loafed about in the most disconsolate manner, looking for all the world like a half-hatched chicken. Great. We can read more about Schandmantel, sometimes also a Spanish coat, is a torture device which came in the 13th century. They were fashioned from wood and sometimes lined with sheet metal. What? Okay, I'll read this really quick. Um, Sometimes lined with sheet metal, victims were made to wear this device in public, where they would be insulted, humiliated, and have rotten vegetables thrown at them. The Schandmantel was mostly used as punishment for poachers and prostitutes. Okay. The use of the Schandmantel was comparable to the Leistersteine or the Schandstätten, heavy stones weighing down from the neck. Cool. The Schandmantel was weighted along the lower rim and around the neck opening as a way of corporal punishment, in addition to the severe public humiliation it posed. In the 19th century development of the Iron Maiden may have been a misinterpretation of the function of the Schandmantel. Okay. So here's a man wearing a Schandmantel, surely not in the 1300s. It's got a little bell on the top. Oh my goodness. Man. Humans really had a. It's got a guillotine on it, and the gallows, and another pillory. And I'm not certain what that is. Is that the stairs up to the gallows? I don't know. What a history we humans have. We're so messed up, you know? Here's the drunkard's cloak. Like making prostitutes wear it, come on. I know the people convicting the prostitutes, like literally just used the prostitute. Hypocrisy everywhere. Illustration of Brank and Drunkard's Cloak. That must be Brank. I don't know what Brank is. That person looks maybe still drunk. Come on, close. What's Brank? A scold's bridle, sometimes called a witch's bridle, a gossip's bridle, a Brank's bridle, or simply Brank's, was an instrument of punishment. It's a form of public humiliation. It was an iron muzzle. My goodness. What the heck, yo? Ugh. How terrible did humans have to... Are these supposed to be ovaries? Oh my goodness. If you are just listening to this, not actually watching, just looking through the pictures of these muzzles for humans. That says scold on it. Look at that child crying in shame, probably. Man. It's freaking humans. They're so terrible. They're... Scotland inflicted the contraption. I thought it said contraception. The contraption mostly on female transgressors and women considered to be rude, nags, common scolds, or drunken. Of course, freaking phallocentric, stupid patriarchy. Anyway, that's wild. I don't think I even want to wait. There was a bridle put into their mouth and pressed down on the top of the tongue with a spike on the tongue. Man. It is terrible. Yeah, look at that. It's got a little thing that goes in the mouth. That's just going to make you gag all the freaking time. Man, look at those things. That is awful. Poor people that had to wear this. Golly. Makes me feel fortunate that now we just get cyberbullied or whatever. Man, that is terrible. Anyway, on that, we'll end this one.